Thank you for watching my friend, Saturday night. Please get ready. Please like the video. Please focus on what's going on. Because, like is so often the case, when revolution presents itself, too many people look the other way and just don't seem to get it. They miss the point. They'll see things about Trump only, or Candace only, or Tucker only, or ERIKA KIRK only. And they underestimate, as somebody one time said, the fact that these are the systems. So get ready for this. I am telling you right now, we're going to have at it. Focus on this. Please be cogent. Please be courteous. And please be focused on what is happening right now. And I will tell you something right now. Are you seeing what's happening to gas prices? Wait until July. Not just gas, but food. The Strait of Hormuz and the problems that you've seen will be felt next month. It's a slow process. This is not meant to scare you, but you've got to understand something. The first thing you can do right now, which I can't say enough, people have a hard time with buying emergency food. Okay, reasons I don't understand. But at least have something to grab in the event you have to leave. Just buy it, keep it, and hope you never need it. What am I talking about? This. When disaster hits, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on what you already prepared. Wildfires, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, blackouts, EMP and grid attacks, riots, disaster. Get it? And when the warning comes, there's no time to search for flashlights or bottled water or first aid supplies while your family waits at the door. That's why My Patriot Supply created the fully stocked bug out bag. You've got to get this. It's a rugged, grab-and-go tactical backpack packed with 60 emergency essentials, including food, water, shelter, fire, starting tools, lighting, first aid, and more. Everything is already packed and ready right out of the box. Keep one in your car, your home, your RV, your office, your cabin, because the emergencies never make appointments. And right now, you can get $100 off plus free shipping for a limited time. So act now. There will be no special invitation in life. Disaster always comes unannounced. Get prepared now. Go to preparewithlionel.com. That's preparewithlionel.com and click the link today. Have you not been shocked at how much of the time we talk about assassination? We have to come up with some kind of a code. Think about this. Do you first recognize, understand truly what happened to Charlie? Do you understand what happened to Trump? Do you know the suggestion that Trump's paranoia and psychological predisposition to fearing made him more susceptible and amenable to attacking Iran? You've got very, very devious, brilliant people who know how to play psychological head games with Donald Trump. Do you see what's happening? Now, I want you to let's make sure we just don't apologize about anything, don't have to explain what we thought Trump was. We have to act now and review what's going on now. This is not being mean. You're not giving in your MAGA card or anything along those lines. You're calling it the way it is. Do you see what's happening to our country and our world? It is incredible. And maybe on a lighter level, maybe as an introductory level, at a critical level, is what is happening right now regarding one of the legs of this, I don't know what you want to call them, these duplicitous, horrible people who represent swaths of evil in the world. But unless and until, and I mean this, unless and until Candace Owens starts the ball rolling by saying we have to have a debate. We have to have a debate. We have to discuss this. You, Erika, and me. Nobody else. These little twits, these benighted moon bats, I don't know who these people are, the Colvetts and whatever. They are irrelevant. They're the office gals. They're the secretaries. They're really not the centers and the repositories of evil. You have to go and officially, it's like David and Goliath, but I'm not sure who's who. You have to understand, and this is critical, you have to have this where she is decimated. She is absolutely crumbled, destroyed, hit her with everything. Once she is formally brought out and crushed so that there is no further chance, because they're hiding her. They're hiding her. They're protecting her. They're not really going for the throat. Unless and until this happens, I know this may be unpalatable for some people, but I'm saying it is critical that it be done. Absolutely critical. Because then she folds, TPUSA folds, and then the conspiracy to frame Tyler Robinson, that crumbles, and little by little, this organization that was responsible for taking out Charlie, it is exposed. And with that exposure comes exposure to a level of corruption, kind of a rabbit hole or a spider's web or whatever you want to call it that you can imagine. So what I'm saying is this is not meant to just be, hey, wouldn't it be funny just to embarrass her? No. You have to do something drastic. The only way anybody can get to the bottom of this is if she is exposed. Because if she's exposed, TPUSA is exposed, and then Tyler Robinson and that patsy setup is revealed, and then we get to the real culprits, the real perps, the perpetrators and the co-conspirators regarding Charlie. Does that make sense to you? This is not just meant to be, hey, wouldn't that just be fun? Yeah, it'd be kind of fun, but that's not it. It's not it. She is being protected. People have to see her crushed. People have to see her absolutely positively. Remember, it wasn't until Biden and Trump were next to each other where you thought, oh my God. Many suspect right now that Donald Trump is showing that he's worse for wear. I don't know. I can't say. Nothing would surprise me. But let me say this again. Aside from being one of the most incredibly fascinating stories, it would put to bed, it would end the myth of ERIKA KIRK, the myth of TPUSA, the myth of this prosecution against Tyler Robinson, and to get to the bottom of who really was responsible for the elimination of Charlie. Does that make sense to you? It's critical. Absolutely, positively critical. It's like it's, the stool where one is lost, the other is lost. Look at this. Barkis the Maj says, hi, Lionel. Could you indulge this poor Scotsman and explain Jared Kushner to me? What is he? He looks like something wearing a human. Okay, thank you. Jared Kushner, as you know, is the son-in-law of President Trump, the husband of Ivanka Trump, and part of the Kushner family. The Kushner family, his father Charles, I believe, went to prison after pleading guilty for some pretty rancid stuff. You can look into Trump pardoned him. Chris Christie was the prosecutor who brought the charges. And as Chris Christie says, Jared's father pled guilty. Jared Kushner is, and I don't know about affect. I've never met him. I don't know what he's like. I don't know anything. But there's a couple of things that he's done. First, if I had to do a quick profile of him, he is the link, the connector between Bibi, AIPAC, Adelson, whatever you want to call it, and Trump. How Trump has not realized this, I don't know. Maybe he does realize it. Maybe he realizes there's nothing he can do about this. I don't know. This is the part which is the most important. This is very, very critical. How Trump has allowed this to happen, I will never understand. Ultimately, when Trump leaves, when he finally sits back and looks back at his career and looks back at what happened, he will be realized that they saw him coming. He was outplayed, outsmarted, outpositioned. You talk about 4D chess? This is quantum computing regarding his chess. Between Pompeo, between Jared Kushner, and behind these stories, these myths, they did a psychological profile of Trump. Trump has never been involved. Trump met it big time, and they realize that they're going to go for broke right now. And they're going to use everything they have. Let me say something. And this may bother you. This may, I don't know. It's just always me. Everybody gets upset about something. I don't blame them. I don't blame Israel for, or excuse me, not the people of Israel, but whether it's, Netanyahu or Likud or Adelson or whoever these people are, Singer and all these other folks. This is exactly what they have said they wanted to do. They are smarter than anything we've seen. They use everything, blackmail, which everybody uses it. We use it. They're actually going, and they were monitoring, eavesdropping, wiretapping us in the Pentagon. They, for their country, listen to what I'm saying. And this is critical. And again, you're gonna say, "Oh, that's terrible." No. This is realism here. This is exactly what you do. They will stop at nothing. Nothing. They are so smart. But there's people who are even smarter, and that's big tech. That's another story. Trump was outplayed, and we don't even know the half of him. And the guy who is the first person, and Trump, I'm assuming Trump knows this, is Jared. Jared. He knows this. Now, the second thing, and let me just say this again. When Mearsheimer was talking the other day about Russia, he said, one of the problems that he says that Putin was involved with is that Putin should have gone for the throat. Putin, he thinks, really wasn't strong enough. Now, I love the way Mearsheimer thinks. He's a realist. We're playing chess. Let me give you an example, a little side issue. Have you ever heard about Bas Rutten speak? Have you ever heard about hear Joe Rogan speak about Muay Thai or Brazilian? Or they talk about breaking legs, choking, submission, pain, discomfort, crippling. Do you understand what's happening? It's not mean. It's the way it is. This is warfare. I know people love Sun Tzu, and they love that and deception. We could learn something from them. Israel, Mossad, Amman is the military intelligence. The mentality is hats off. Hats off. Touche. I want you as my friend. I don't want you as my enemy. I might not like what you're doing. What you do is just, I don't even know where this, I can't even know. I was watching Christopher Hitchens and Max Blumenthal. Let me explain something to you, a couple of things here. The most, and I say this respectfully, tremendously, the smartest, the most dangerous person around today, the commentator who could run rings around Charlie. I mean, on Charlie's best day, you can't get near Max Blumenthal. Nowhere. I don't get it. How is Max Blumenthal allowed to be Max Blumenthal? If there are these Kenon, these hit teams that he probably has inspired and has exposed things that nobody says. He knows it intimately. Why? I don't understand it. I'm always second guessing. Is it because he doesn't have that big of a following? Is it because he really is connected and he's almost like a limited hangout and they know he's doing? I'm second guessing myself. Could it be because they know it, but it's too obvious? I love Charlie Kirk. He was wonderful. Charlie Kirk, whether Charlie Kirk was responsible for getting Trump, Trump, he certainly was in terms of that. But in terms of figuring out the world on his best day, love Charlie. Nobody gets near Max Blumenthal. And Max Blumenthal is going absolutely just full force, it's brutal. Listen to what he's saying. It's like nothing. It's at a level nobody can even come close to. And at the very little, there's, ERIKA and there's Colvet and the donors and they're important too. Don't get me wrong. We'll get to her in a moment. So my question is why is he allowed to even exist? Why? Why is he allowed to exist? Of all the people who fundamentally, he and others, and by the way, there's others who were so, I mean, as far as Iran goes, Morandi, see, I don't know where you're looking I don't know where you're focusing this. But it depends on a lot of things. It depends on, I mean, if you want to get into jazz, do you want to get do you want to hear, Spyro Gyra, Chuck Mangione, or Bix Beiderbecke? I mean, how deep do you know this? How deep do you want to go? That's what this is. How deep do you want to go? This is the most important part. Now, it's also critical, and you can sit here. One of the biggest, I don't want to say, well, I'll say it's almost like a lost leader or something. It's the USS Liberty. Every time you talk about that, I'm saying, you're worried about this now? It's nice, don't get me wrong. No, focus on what's happening now. We'll get to the Liberty later. I say people would always talk about the Gulf of Tonkin. I said, let it go. We'll get to that later. Focus what's happening on now. Why is Trump doing what he's doing? What does he fear? Tucker Carlson, and now finding out with Dan Bongina. Remember what I'm doing this. I'm just telling you what they're saying. It has been alleged that Trump shut down the Butler investigation. Why? Why would that happen? Why? Why would he want to shut down an investigation in somebody who tried to take him out. Do you want to just use your imagination? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But it is so fascinating. So what I'm saying is there are levels of this which, depending upon how deep you want to go. Now, we'll get to ERIKA in a moment. ERIKA doesn't know anything about this. Nothing. Nothing. She couldn't explain this to you, nor could half of the people, nor could any of the usual suspects, the Patrick Bet David, anybody who wears look for anybody who wears a lapel pin. Lapel pin means I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm substituting lapel jewelry for I don't know what's going on. It is so complicated. It is so complicated. And we're this close to it. And we've got to make our way through it to try to say, okay. And it's great to have so many people involved. Listen, if you're involved in this, go ahead. Because this is not about Bibi. This is not about Iran. This is about foreign policy and the trajectory of American foreign policy. It's bigger than anything you can imagine. It's the bigger study. Now, if it took, I'm going to go back to my analogy again. Kenny G people laughed at, but Kenny G introduced people to jazz. Andrea Bocelli is like opera for children, but he introduced people. Garth Brooks introduced people to country. Sometimes people will kind of introduce you. Diana Krall introduced people to standards and other people. So ERIKA, Candace, excuse me, Tucker, have brought more people now into the notion of what does this thing mean? And I promise you, before they came along, nobody ever heard of the word Zionism. They didn't even know what it meant. They didn't know what it meant. It never came up into the conversation at all. Nothing. This is huge. Huge. It's bigger than anything. And for the longest time, nobody would ever, how do I say this? Nobody would ever even know where we're going. But let me go back to what I'm saying. As powerful as Charlie is, Max Blumenthal is, if you really want to go deep, watch him. This is as hardcore as you can get. Start with that, and if you can follow that, you can follow anything. Everything else pales by comparison. The liberty doesn't even come and say, yeah, that's important, but we're beyond the liberty. If you really want to get hardcore, listen to him. At the same time, and listen to what I'm saying, at the very same time, there are people like Judge Napolitano. I cannot tell you how critical he is. He has brought together a group, a consortium of people from Scott Ritter. Probably the most impressive anybody in the military is Colonel Douglas McGregor. He is Hollywood. He's perfect. Mearsheimer, brilliant. Mearsheimer brought down, he and Walt and others brought this notion of the Jewish lobby, which opened up people into thinking, what about the other lobbies? Big tech lobby. That's the biggest of the big. Big tech lobby is the most frightening. But they're not there because people think, oh, that's ChatGPT. Oh, no. But we're getting you. It doesn't matter. Now, why is ERIKA important? This is important. This is very critical. First, the most important thing about this is that these are the people who don't really know what they're doing. Okay, they don't really know what they're doing. TPUSA was run by children. Somebody was responsible for ultimately giving the order to eliminate Charlie. I don't know who it is. We can guess. People sort of benefited. I don't think so. Charlie, they're going to realize they were doing much better with Charlie. Now that Charlie's gone, it's losing. And they're never going to tell you this. They're never going to destroy. They're never, ever going to admit it. But it was the worst thing that ever happened. Terrible. And somebody said, let's get Erika. Now, who knew Erika was an idiot? I have no idea. Nobody knew. It's like having this. I'm trying to think of having like the son or the Nepo baby of some group, and the person is an idiot. Okay. Candace is, and she's very interesting. She doesn't go, she knows exactly where her audience is. She knows exactly the depth of what's going on. She knows exactly. And she knows exactly what is going. I don't want to say the, I hate using an Overton window, but she knows exactly how deep we can go to keep people coming. If she goes too deep, she can turn people off because they're not going to know what she's talking about. It's like when you talk about the Supreme Court and abortion, you got to get into substantive due process and Griswold, and immediately. So what you do is you find ways around it. You find ways of explaining it that maybe people could understand. So Erika is perfect. Erika is, I'm convinced, is a pathological liar, not a psychopath. I hope you saw my thing. Not a psychopath, not a sociopath, unless you just disregard what the terms mean. She does not have a personality disorder. It's not a borderline or antisocial behavior. She's not. She's just a path. She's just a liar and doesn't care because she is so into her image that she'll say anything, do anything. I don't think she wants to go out and hurt people. That's not her goal. How she can be this is what was important about what Candace said. She was anti-Israel, pro-Israel 24 hours later. Candace, of course, said, this is a psychopath. And I'm thinking, to an extent, there is something she shares, no appreciation for consequence, but not really. She will say she doesn't understand it. She doesn't understand what pro-Israel means for her to switch. It doesn't matter to her. It's nothing personal. She doesn't care. If tomorrow they say, hey, listen, we're going to go Iranian. What? We're going to go we're going to go anti-Iranian, full Shia. Okay. Really? Yeah. And we're going to go Persian? Yeah. Is that what we do? Yeah. Okay. Do you know what that means? No. But it doesn't really matter. She'll just do whatever she has to do. She'll do whatever she has to say. They're so busy lying. Two things they've done. Number one, TPUSA has taken far too much of our attention away from the really important stuff, arguing whether, there's nobody who doesn't believe that this thing was AI. Nobody doesn't believe that. This debate, do you think? It's like, for example, this reminds me of the magic bullet with JFK. Do you believe the magic bullet? No. You don't hit bone and wrist and not be perceived. But they're still talking about the magic. Well, who do you think put the magic bullet in? I don't know who put the magic bullet in. It's not real. We don't worry about that. Don't worry about the magic bullet. Just forget about the magic bullet. Let the magic bullet go. Don't worry about the magic bullet. But we're arguing now. Do you think it was AI? I don't know. Could be AI. I'm not sure. Well, they said that they had hours and hours and hours of tapes. Yes, I know that. You're right about that. Is it important? Not really. But people understand it. And if that's what it takes to get you in, fine. Because remember what I said, repeat. If Eric goes, TPUSA goes, then eventually this conspiracy to frame Tyler, and then we find out ultimately who was responsible for the elimination of Charlie. And then behind that, we go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So you got to start someplace. So if you want to start with Erika, that's fine. Thank God these people are stupid enough to keep her around, to keep her there, to keep it real, because this is a problem. And this is how do we say this? You can talk about this. Somebody mentioned gaslighting. Whatever you want to worry about, it doesn't matter. She's unimportant, whether she's a psychopath, sociopath, personality disorder, a fabulist, whatever. She's lying. We know this. We know this. We're just trying to define. I guess we want. I hate this. This phrase. The receipts. We've got the receipts. Once something fed slop. If I hear that, once somebody comes up with a new, you notice it's a new thing. It just takes off. It just takes off. But I remember years ago, my friend started this. Didn't start, but was saying bougie, for bourgeois. And okay, all right. Now we know what he's talking about bougie. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let me just say again. She's an idiot. And thankfully she's there. But Candace has got to challenge her now. Unless there is a reason that benefits Candace, unless there is something that she thinks, I've got something in line, she plays her cards carefully. She doesn't release the people, like, when they said they're trolling the trolls, and I think sometimes people just make this stuff up. I know she's got to be careful. NDAs, and no, that's fine. But assuming it can be done, Candace knows the facts intimately. You could wake her up in the middle of the night and she'll give you the tail numbers from Fort Huachuca. This isn't somebody she didn't just learn this today. She knows this intimately. She knows it. She knows the arc of this, the trajectory, where it's going. She's this morning. If she sat down with ERIKA, it would be such a bloodbath. A bloodbath. It would be not even... It would be painful to watch, but necessary. And she's got to do it for at least 90 minutes. And when you see her just break down and look, and there's nobody to cut her off, nobody to throw her a Kleenex or no, she couldn't even handle somebody screaming something ridiculous about covering up the PDF files, as it were. These people don't do this. Barkus, the mage, says, I agree about ERIKA not being a psychopath, as she's not intellectually developed enough. She tries to transform into whatever she thinks people want to see. No one's told her she's so bad at it. I think you're right about that. By the way, and thank you, by the way. Psychopath, read the Hare test, Hare. Read James Fallon. Psychopath is something you're born with. The orbital cortex, you can actually look at fMRIs. You can look and see. James Fallon, not Jimmy Fallon, but Fallon, I interviewed him. He was very, very good. Fallon. Was doing something. He had these MRIs, or he had these portable things, and he was doing a study. He's a psychologist, retired, but he was doing a study to look at people who had signs of Alzheimer's or whatever it was. But at the same time, he went to prisons and did somehow MRIs or fMRIs of people who were on death row, psychopaths, criminals, or whatever, and he noticed he could just look at a stack. He could just look at fMRIs and say, ooh, bad one. Prison, you got it. He could just look immediately. Based upon the psychopath has organic, neurological. Don't forget, neurology is hardware, but psychiatry and psychology is software. But anyway, he could tell. So what happened was he had these films, and he covered over the names, and he would look at them, and he would do people in his family to see about Alzheimer's. He just asked everybody, and he went through them, and he held up one of these films, one of these readings, and he said, oh my God, who is this? He goes, you put one of the psychopaths into our Alzheimer's list. And he says, I don't know who this is. And they didn't know what to tell him. He said, what? He said, it's you. He said, what do you mean? He says, that's you. And he says, I'm a psychopath? He said, yeah, according to this. So he went to everybody he knew, everybody, wife, and he said, do you notice any psychopathic tendencies in me? She says, yeah. Mother, yeah. Remember when you were a kid and you took your brother out or something and threatened or scared him? Sometimes you did stuff with the kids where I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. He didn't have brakes. He didn't have a circuit breaker. However, he's never hurt anybody because he believes in this particular case, you need, it's like what they say about epigenetics. Epigenetics is nature cocks the gun, but situation pulls the trigger. That's epigenetics. So he said, I'm a psychopath. He is a full-fledged psychopath. Affable, lovable, but he knows and he can look at organic structures. If you looked, I promise you, at Erika's fMRI, you see nothing special about it. Sociopaths, however, they say, in the loosest of definition, to somebody who maybe becomes somebody who exhibits psychopathic tendencies by virtue of maybe life or abuse or something along those lines. She doesn't have that. What she does is her word means nothing. She has no self-image in terms of the way you would think. Your self-image would be one of self-respect, reputation. She doesn't care about that. She'll say anything, do anything. She makes up stories. You can tell about just things about, Charlie and I, we went to Trader Joe's. Yeah, that's it. And I was buying the granola. And she just makes things up. She just makes things up. Her life is a lie. She is a lie. She's not a psychopath. She realizes, I'm not an actress. She feels like she's beautiful. I think deep down inside, she thinks she's beyond beautiful, okay? I don't want to talk about people's looks, but I will tell you, there are people that she looks, you could go to a mall and you could just see, there's nothing, and I'm not trying to be mean, but to her, it means something different, something completely different. She wanted to at first say, okay, I'll be the kind of a heartthrob, kind of like the sexy reality-based roommate, with my men, and we'll kind of flirt. And when that didn't work, she said, okay, then I'll pretend that I stayed home every night. And yeah, that's it. So she came up with a story how she lived in New York. And she never went out. She was like reading the Bible all the time. And that didn't make any sense. And then she came up with the idea that, well, she's a real estate mogul with Corcoran Group. And that wasn't that. And then maybe later she says, oh, and then she made up something completely. She just made up about how they came to her reluctantly because she's so beautiful. And she just was a tomboy. And she says, I don't know why everybody says I'm so gorgeous. I'm really not. And they asked me whether I could be a part of this Miss, Arizona. I said, okay, I will. Never happened. She knows, you can tell. She doesn't care. It's not because she's a psychopath. She just doesn't care. She just says that. It's the weirdest thing. Let me give you the best example of this. I love to watch Stolen Valor. Don Shipley. John Shipley is this retired Navy SEAL, and he has access to a SEAL's database. And people will call him all the time. People who are dating a purported SEAL, and other people as well. And what happens is they'll call him and they say, "Is this guy a Navy SEAL?" They say, "What's his name?" And he goes down the line, goes, "Nope, No SEAL ever. He'll get his DD-214, and they'll realize the guy was maybe, some people never were in the military at all. Other people were in the military maybe for a couple of weeks. And he'll get these people on the phone and say, hey, Chuck. Hey, shipmate. This is Don Shipley, bro. Hey, Don. He goes, I understand you were a Navy SEAL. Yeah, well, yeah, was he? So Don will say, what the BUDS class? Basic underwater demolition SEALs, your training. What BUDS class number were you? Everybody's numbers, like you not remembering when you graduated from high school or the year you got married or whatever it is. You just, everybody remembers that number because you say the number, you yell the number, it's just ridiculous. People say, well, 214. No, bro, you're about 20 years off. Well, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Or I had brain damage. Or it's classified. And Don Shipley will say, you don't understand. I'm a Navy SEAL. Give me a name of anybody you were with. Anybody in your class. Do you remember somebody from your high school class? Yes. Do you remember your professor's name? Yes. Maybe not everyone or teachers. These people, they go through, they'll list 5 names, or they can't remember a name, and all the names are never having been. Nothing. They know not. Anyway, so my point is, he catches these people. They're not psychopaths. They're liars. They're Erikas. They just say this. And you say, you don't understand. We got you. We found you. Give it up. No. Erika, you were anti-Israel militarily, and in 24 hours you went 180. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Well, that never happened. Prove it. I don't know. Erika, Charlie never appeared. And these people, it's not just her. Candace says, Charlie never appeared at this Aspen, wherever it was, and said, I appoint my wife. Yes, it did. They say, well, we want to protect the donors. Candace says, here are the donors. Irene and from North Carolina. They say it's cool. There you go. There's no privilege. Tell us. Well, we don't believe you now. And then they just lie. They're not psychopaths. They're just liars. Psychopath is they feel no empathy. They feel nothing. They're really cold and manipulative, and they're less than 10% of the population. So what I'm saying is we can use psychopath as kind of like a shortcut. Like people use the word neocon for anybody who wants to go to war. You're not really a neocon. Neocon is a different story. It's not a war profiteer. It's a different story. It's a term of art. But if it works for you, fine. Whatever. That's okay. People use that PDF file. And I'm saying most of the people involved in trafficking are themselves not that. They're criminals. They'll traffic in anything. Stolen art, exotic animals, shark fins. And the term deals with somebody's attraction. They're after predation. They're a predator. A person who attacks a woman is not a heterosexual. There's you're a, anyway. So, but we use the wrong term. But what we do is we just use them. That's the part. That's all. It's what we use. But here is the thing. Candace has to say, ask her, why do you or do you not agree with, let's say, for example, Israel's operation in Gaza? And just sit back and wait. She won't know what you're talking about. Well, in 24 hours, you changed your mind. How is it that now you don't know, you can't explain it, but you did the other day? When Charlie said to me and to others that he had changed his mind regarding this particular direction, this military and geopolitical direction, did you miss that? Did you miss that? Did he ever tell you that? He told me that. Told everybody that. When they had that Hamptons conference, and he was, do you remember that? And then you realize, no. And then you say, Erika, did he ever tell you anything? Do you know who told you to say this? Who told you to say it? Erika, whose idea was it for you to lie atop your husband's corpse and to be mic'd so that you could hear people say, I love you so much, Charlie. I love you. This is where the lights went out in Georgia. This is when most people said, oh my God, this is an opportunity we can't even believe. By the way, I put a word out to Tucker, and I'm with you. I've talked to Tucker, put a word out to Tucker. I put a word out to our good friend Buck, Uncle Buck. I talked to him today. We're going to work on this. And Candace here towards the end of the month. I don't want to announce it today, but we've already lined that up. That's happening. So we're doing it. And by the way, did you not enjoy Zach Costello? Was it not? It's so funny. He was born the year I started talk radio. And we are compatriots. We are exactly on the same page. His morality, his idea, it's the most refreshing thing I've ever seen. Loved him. Fredo is doing terrific stuff. Oh, here goes Barkus. Barkus, the Marge, says, if it turns out that there has been embezzlement at TPUSA, do you think Erika knew about it? Her being mic'd over the casket was deeply sinister. Thank you for that. I don't know. I don't know if there was. I don't know if there's any evidence of that I don't know. Our friend says, OD, whatever this is, says, I fear the world has gone too crazy. All this planted people everywhere is so, so bad. And when you see it, you can't unsee it. What now? Love from the North. Indeed. Oh, I think we are seeing levels, and thank you for this. I think we are seeing levels of pathology we never even thought possible. I am driving faster. I like this. Says, hello, regarding Erika's crazy, how addictive, even though, regarding EK's, it's crazy how addictive, even though we may never get the true story, we appreciate your input because you're confronting our thoughts as well. This is wrong. Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you immensely. I love pathology. I love liars. I'm always trying to analyze, diagnose. Why do people do this? I want to know why. I want to know why people cut. I want to know arson. I was into arson, not me, but try to understand it. Serial killing. I love it. I'm also into what Trump is doing. And remember something. You cannot do what we are doing, my dear friend, unless you are very, 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 for lack of a better word, conspiratorial. What if I told you the following? Okay? Trump had no idea. Trump has been kind of a grandiose, a little pompous, but basically not a bad person, but somebody who loves the name and the branding on a lower level. Buildings, golf courses, TV. I think he was the most happy when he could get into a limo, go to Regis and Kelly, or Regis and whoever. He loved going to the 21 Club, which is now closed, but He loved going to lunch and driving and going home and being Trump. He loved being loved. He loved being loved. And he said, let me take it to the next step, because he saw money and he saw it's part of this. One of the things that I can tell you right now, do you want to be the, let me give you a side thing. Tucker and Candace are never going to run for office. When I was right out of college, I worked for a U.S. senator. And we were on the road, and it was the best job in the world. I was 21, just turned 22. And I'm driving my mother's station wagon. This was 1980. It was Dick Stone, Richard Dick Stone. The only senator to have his dick in parentheses. He loved that joke. And he and I, this U.S. senator, would travel. This is before GPS. I'm on country roads in Florida. I don't know where I'm going. Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda. I don't know where I'm going. But I did it. Somehow, I don't know how I did it. 21. Never thought I couldn't do it. So we're traveling on the road. We're talking to each other. And so one day, we're at this place. I think it was in Polk County. It was like in Lakeland. And Grady Judd country. But it was like this big mansion, like horses. So I asked this fellow who owned the house, I said, is there a phone I can use? Because I got to call back to Washington or whatever. He says, yeah, come into my office. I said, wow. And he said, I forget how we're talking. He says, yeah, I wonder about if it's really fun to be senator. He says, no. He said, son, you don't want to be a senator. You want to be the person the senator goes to when he's in town. Me. That's him. That's what you want to be. And I realize that. Do you want to change things? If Candace or Tucker first go to, if they go, the first thing to do is they start cutting off fingers, arms, handcuffs. You can't do what brought you. They are communicators. They are communicators. They speak. They have a gift. They're very smart. But this is something that they have. They can communicate. And people like them. They have a gift. They're not ashamed. Most people would be very, very, there are some people who are coming along. It's very difficult doing this thing. Very, very difficult sometimes. What people don't understand. Jeremy Culpepper, ladies and gentlemen, said, did you see RFK Jr. said he has the evidence the CIA killed his uncle? Also sent you an email from Jeremy Culpepper. Yes, I saw that. Thank you for that. He also said he has a lot of things, sir, that he says he has, and we never hear anything about it again. How about Thane Eugene Caesar, who was responsible for dispatching his father? Not Saran, but Thane Eugene Caesar. And guess who's stopping him? His family. Because his family are saying they're the biggest sellers of them. No, it's not, sir. I will never understand this as long as I live. But the thing about Candace and Tucker is that they can do far more. They can introduce you. They can be a teacher. See, if I can get somebody to go out, if I can get 1 million people to all of a sudden ask a question, I can't do that when I'm a senator or I can't do that when I'm a president. I can't do that. Repeat after me. You don't need government. You only need government to break things, to, pardon my French, fuck things up. You don't need government. You don't need it. You need a government. You need an army to destroy people. You need a government to tax, to limit rights, to ignore. But you don't need a government. Government's unnecessary. We don't need them. We created this monster. Imagine if you were a young couple and let's say your wife had a baby. And you decide that, for the time being, we're going to hire this very nice lady to come in and help, with the diapers and help out. And one day you come home and you realize that the lady is ordering your wife around. And your wife is asking the lady whether she can do it. And you say, wait a minute, what's going on here? I say, well, she's telling you what to do? No, no, no. She's the servant. I don't want to be like this, but no, no, excuse me. I'm going to fire you. Okay. Now imagine what government is. This one not only doesn't quit, but brings in more people to also come in and push you around. That's the government. I despise the government. And I think that what is happening right now with the president, with this stupid UFC, changing the name of the Kennedy Center, the ballroom, I don't know, the $250 bill, these half-assed Milli Vanilli having a sign that says Oval Office. Has he lost his mind? I don't know who this is. I don't know. Listen to Max Blumenthal and Chris Hedges. And Max is explaining the psychology of Trump freaking out over the fact that they tried to get him 3 times and that he is afraid more than anything of Israel. The people who brought you golden beepers, the people who look at you and they say, you don't understand. We're in a different mentality. This Soleimani, why did he do that? Why did we go after him? What was the purpose of that? They told him to do that. Why? Why is he being told? Why? And it's not just about AIPAC. It's not just about, well, you know, he's going to make a lot of money. No, there's something else going on there. And listen to it. Because one of the things that people have, and let me tell you something, and I know that people are going to say, oh, you're anti-Semitic. Oh, no, no, no. This is respect. They have a psychological, basically, kind of a review of you, a psychological review. And there was a book, Gideon's, where I think it was Bibi's wife wanted to read. They had the psychological reviews of all the first ladies up to and she wanted to see about Hillary Clinton. And they know what your shortcomings are. They know who you are. They know they are geniuses. We are the worst. Tulsi Gabbard tried, and I wish the best for her husband, but we just don't have it. We don't have any. We're not there yet. MI6 was pretty good, but ours is no. We can't get near this. So what I'm saying is there's something that's going on which is so how do I say this? It's so revealing. Now, what Candace is doing, Candace Tucker, I tell people this and they have a hard time understanding it. I said, you are seeing right now what is a revolution. You are seeing, and I've seen it a couple of times. I was there at the ground level when Rush Limbaugh all of a sudden blew up like we never saw anything like this. It's like, who the hell is Rush Limbaugh? He would have their Rush to Excellence tour, and he would go from towns, and he would respond, and then he made so much money. He was the biggest thing anybody's ever seen. And it wasn't that he could change elections. Now, I saw this. And people have been trying to recreate that ever since. And there's nobody right there on radio who can do it, terrestrial radio. But who can do it? Tucker, Candace. Also, this new group of people. I want you to imagine this group. I'm going to ask you, and I find this so interesting. When I was talking to Zach, he intimated something to the effect of, when and I said, understand what we're doing here. We're on the same page. I don't have to necessarily. I'm compatible with you. You don't need a converter. It's like when you go to a foreign country and you need to put your DCAC, we work fine. He may be of a different generation than I am. He may be of a different mindset. His faith may be different. But when it comes to our core belief, we're identical. So of our group, think about who would be in it. It would be him. It would be Erika, of course. Not Erika. What am I saying? It'd be Candace. I'd like to get Erika and change her. Just scare the hell out of TPUSA. Kind of turn her. But I don't think it's going to happen. Anyway, Tucker. but also Joe Kent, Massey, MTG, some other people who we probably would not necessarily be listening to all the time. Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, Katie Halper, who was Abby Martin. People who, and again, we may not agree with anything regarding LGBT or ICE or whatever, but when it comes to this, and of course, the Napolitano crowd, look at this tent. Look at who the people are. Me, Queen, says, what are your thoughts? Oh, on Dan Bongina and Blakey the Fakey, replying to Candace's post saying, yeah, you almost solved Charlie's assassination case, mocking her. So sickening. I will tell you this much. Blakey is a little bit more, did you say, more interesting, more dangerous. Dan Bongina, I've met this a million times. First, this is the guy who, remember when he was, and I wish him well, but he has some kind of I don't know what it was, some kind of a sickness or something, and he's crying. Remember that? Okay. He also wants so much to be the tough guy. He wants to be the tough guy more than anything else. I think he's too profane. I think he cusses far too much. I think he's trying to give the impression of how, what a tough guy is. His law enforcement. And he was there for what, maybe 9 months, barely 9 months. Kash Patel is still there. And he quit for reasons we don't understand. And he is such an absolute rube. People remember what he said about the Epstein file. And now, after the fact, he's forgotten all about that. And he wants you to forget that. He wants you to forget it. Well, we're not going to forget it. And nobody listens. I mean, people might say, okay, whatever it is, but he lost his position. He's a quitter. Say we're talking about Kash. Kash is still there doing whatever it was. The same thing with Bondi. He's really irrelevant. And the worst thing you can do to him, the worst thing you could do to make him lose it is to say, what does it feel like to be basically nothing? I mean, nothing. You will never be the man that was respected. You had it then. You quit. Why would you quit? What are you saying? I mean, what are you saying? See, Candace has more guts. See, that's another thing too, is if they're, the other day when Tucker was saying, and I believe Tucker said that when he spoke to Bongina a while back, he was trembling. He was almost scared of the information. Bongina said, look, I'm not a tough guy. I don't do this. But do you think I'm afraid of Tucker Carlson? He's like, no, schmuck. Nobody said that. Nobody's saying that. He's saying you were scared about having the information regarding this that might be you, that you feared retribution from the Trump team or whoever it was. That's what so even that, he's just irrelevant. There's some other people I don't understand. Patrick Bet David, can you explain that to me? Look, it's a free country. You do whatever you want. I don't get any of it. I was talking to Frank. Piers Morgan just never says anything until it's so obvious. Megyn Kelly, bless her heart, she wants to be, she's not hardcore enough for me. Barkis says Bongina's response to Tucker was utterly unhinged. To think I was happy about him and Patel joining the FBI. Well, we didn't. Oh, thank you for this. We didn't know any better. We didn't know any better. None. I got to tell you something. If you really could, I hate to say this, I hate this term, unpack the truth, I think you would be shocked at the behind the stuff scenes, which you never even knew about. Like, why did he pick these people? Why were they, like, who is, here's the bottom line. This is the most important. Do you agree? Now, let me tell you something. If I were, remember, Do not sell BB or anybody short. The next time around, the next either midterms or they're coming up, the role of the Trump foreign policy and basically taking orders from either Ukraine or NATO. Remember, we took orders from NATO and the same thing from Israel. In fact, the argument I have is I can make an argument, and I would say to you, you don't know whether I'm talking about Ukraine or Israel. It doesn't matter. I'll give you the same argument. People can tolerate the Ukraine thing, but not the other one. But if you think about what you're seeing, if you think about this, I think you would see a labyrinth. I'm going to ask you some questions. Do you think there's any possibility, this is what people are saying, that Trump he is the most afraid of the Epstein files than anyone? That he knows the information that is there that somebody's got. People ostensibly, Mossad is everything, but do you think that's a possibility? Question number one. Do you think that he is the most terrified? That's why he went after people who are saying, leave this, just stop talking about the Epstein files. Same thing with Biden. Why? But do you think there's a possibility? Do you think this? Do you think so? Do you think so? And people using the word PDF, you're using the term incorrectly, but that's okay. That's okay. Do you think so? Now, remember the question I don't know whether it's true or not. Is it possible? If it's possible, then we refer to it. If it's not possible, then we don't worry about it. It is possible. Do you think it's possible that somebody said to the president, listen, we are going to set you up. Forget the money you think you know. Forget the money, the billion. Elon Musk is the first trillionaire. You're going to see others coming down. You're going to see money nobody has ever seen before. We will make sure that the Trump legacy is so well funded with IPOs and stuff that you're always going to have. We will make sure Eric is on there, or Don Jr. or Barron or even little Kaya, with her. Don't worry about this. Do you think maybe Trump is thinking to himself, look, that's all I care about. What am I going to do? I'm going to do whatever they have to do. I'm because my biggest fear is I think they came in there and they bought not only the White House, but Congress. They bought everything. Not AIPAC, big tech, Zuckerberg, because AI is going to change everything. AI just changed everything. That's the thing. There are also people involved at levels. There's so many interesting labyrinthine people involved in groups. You see, when Alex came along years ago and he started talking about the New World Order, I don't think Trump really understood that. I know people still to this day, they don't understand. They don't understand that. They don't understand it. They don't know what that means. I don't think Trump ever understood that. Trump has made 38 or 39 deals regarding Iran, and all of them have been either postponed or forgotten. Nobody believes anything he says about anything. He has got to get out, sign something. But do you also think there's a part of him that says, these people could take me out so fast? I'm freaked out about this. You don't know whether PTSD, you don't know what that's like. People said, immediately they said, well, when he wanted to, it was alleged he wanted to cancel the Butler investigation. They said, well, obviously because he knew it was a false flag. No. How about the people who were responsible said, stop it. Oh, okay. Do you know how we're becoming more and more acclimated to people being taken out? I don't even want to say this. I don't want to say this anymore. I don't even want to hint at it. I don't want to mention names because sometimes it brings because we love these people and they're all our favorite people out there. But every now and then, sometimes they like to take somebody out just to let you know you're not involved, just to let you know you don't run the show, just to let you know they run the show, they're involved in it, they call the shots. Just to, can you believe, I still can't, how Charlie's dispatch is? I don't know if there was a funeral. Do you know where Charlie is buried? He's just gone. Gone. I mean, seriously, gone. And there's a part of me that says, Charlie didn't know. Well, he probably knew more, but Charlie didn't know as much as Max Blumenthal. I'm going to say this again. If you get a chance, Chris Hedges and Max Blumenthal, listen to that, and you will get a tutorial that you won't hear anywhere. Names, and it's just, and you really can't understand something. So then when you stop, I'm sorry, when I go from that to ERIKA, it's like, okay, look, I realize ERIKA is important, not because she knows anything, but I think symbolically, sometimes you have to do something where people will recognize it. And if you saw ERIKA being dismantled by CANDACE, I mean, really dismantled, I think it would have, it would be the talk. You've got to see that because she's never been able to, we saw a little bit with that White House Correspondents' Dinner, but you've got to sit her down, and CANDACE has to go over each thing. Let me bring this to you. She'll know everything that she's lied about. She'll go through the list. She'll go through her TPUSA people. She'll talk about, what about the fact that you said you were worried about security in the University of Georgia when J.D. Vance was there, and you didn't go just because you didn't like the looks of it. And you were there backstage. What about that? What about when you had these young women go to this women's leadership summit versus the young women's leadership, and you had that Dana Loesch scream about widow? What was that about? And what about those poor women who went there and spent hard-earned money and you didn't even show up because somebody yelled something about a PDF? Why do you do this? You don't even care. You just phoned it in. Do you really care about these people? What is your goal? What do you really want? What is your goal? Tell me. Offhand, do you know, ERIKA, what the mission statement of TPUSA is? It has nothing to do with Jesus or the Lord or anything else for that matter. It's about limited government. It's almost like a libertarian, like a von Mises or a Hayek or a Mont Pelerin kind of society, Milton Friedman and Keynesian. It has nothing to do with this. And ERIKA, you said repeatedly, you changed your mind. First, you said that women should stay home, raise their children. They can always go back to work. You said you have a very successful business. What is it exactly? Of course, they'll be doing all the research. And it's running by itself. Is it running right now? What is the name of it? What do you produce? How big is it? Because she just wants you to believe she's like a Navy SEAL, like those stolen valor people. She wants you to believe that. But you said this, and you're out every day. Who's taking care of your kids? Now, you know when I know. And you can say this. Now, ERIKA, I knew Charlie before you. I knew him a lot longer. I don't say longer, but on a different level than you did. You do know he didn't say everything to you, ERIKA. You do know that. And ERIKA, was there any truth to the fact that Charlie was looking perhaps for lawyers at one particular point? We never talk about that. Oh, no. It's not what I hear. I don't know. What if somebody found out, it's funny, right before this, Charlie was looking to leave And for him to do that, oh, see, I don't understand that either because he's kind of sort of a Catholic and you don't do that. But he was, he was profoundly just disappointed in everything. Towards the end, he couldn't believe it. He said, how has my TPUSA been used, in essence, as a rubber stamp for Israeli military ventures? What are we doing? I'm not even in charge. And then something else happened. Now, you could argue all day why that was. I don't know. Erika, tell me about the information you saw. Tell me about the medical examiner's office. R loves Chanel says the Trump administration gave immunity to the trans furry leftist boyfriend. We are living in an upside down world. This can't be real life. I don't know if that's true or not. Thank you. I don't know if that's true because this will be a state charge, a state murder, and they can't grant state pardons. So I don't know. Oh, the very first thing, Tyler, whatever, Junebug or Luna, whatever his name is, first question is, did they grant you immunity? Should we read you Miranda? Do you know that if you testify and you're lying, you get in trouble? And also, do you know that you might have been, under certain iterations of the statutes, you might have been, it could be construed that maybe you were aiding and abetting somehow Charlie in helping him, kind of an accessory after the fact. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. But when you ask her these questions, Erika, did you know? And by the way, thank you for that. Erika, did you know? Did you see the medical examiner? Yeah. What did they find inside? Do you have a copy of that report? Do you mind if we can get that? What did they find inside Charlie's neck, this area, thoracic area? What did they find? Did they find fragments or what? Why weren't they able to connect the Mauser with that? Why? How did that happen? How did that happen? Do you have any information on that? Is that of any interest to you? It is of interest to me. Don't you think you'd like to know that? I'd like to know that. Don't you think that's interesting? Don't you think that's critical? Isn't that critical for all of us to know? Isn't that something? Does that bother you at all? Don't you wonder about that, Eric? Is there anything about this at all? How about the person taking out the SD cards? You know about that? And did you ever find it odd how they cleaned up? You could just go through the list. Just go to the list. Erika, how can you fire a Mauser 98 where the little switch for the safety is obfuscated or hurt or blocked by the telescope? A telescopic, I mean, you could just go, and then you just want to sit here and say, I don't know. And by the way, I want to know one thing. Did any of those defense lawyers ever contact anybody? I read something that said that their focus now is on mercy. They just want to keep old Tyler off, out of the chair, out of the syringe or whatever. But did any of them get a hold of Barron? And by the way, our thoughts and prayers to Barron. I did not follow up on, I know we had a loss in the family or friends. So, shout out to you, brother. Me Queen says, Lionel, from a psychological perspective, what do you think is happening to Erika's latest crying video? Why doesn't she breathe that way into the mic? Or why doesn't she breathe that way? Seen it yet? Something about it just disturbing. Oh, thank you. I think it also goes to show you, why doesn't she ever blow her nose? I'll say that till I'm blue in the face. Thank you, by the way. E. Barker says, can I thank you for the Alex Clark and Van's hilarity the other day? You almost gave me the gift of laughter. You always give me the gift of laughter, which is priceless. Thank you for that, because that was just, I'm sorry, that wrote itself. That was just so absurd. When I was a kid, my father never hit us. Well, I never really did. I was a good kid, but he never spanked us. Never. And he always did this thing. We had this kind of like this little pool. It wasn't big, but it was Florida, like outside. He said, come here. And there was this diving board. I said, sit down. I said, oh no. That was the place. So he said, why did you do that? I'm sure you've got a good reason for it. Why? Are you stupid? Were you drunk? Were you on drugs or something? Why did you do this? You must have had a good reason. Look, I don't know. No, really, tell me. Just tell me. Why'd you do it? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Do you not think about what you do? And I said, look, just hit me. Get this over with. It was the worst. It was the worst. Because he was a lawyer too. It was like, just, God. Okay. So my question, I'd love to sit down and say, Dana, is it Lesh, Dana? Okay. Dana, I think you're a woman who takes care of herself. I think your appearance is very important. Though I've got to tell you something. When I saw, normally, and this is not about her looks, but what she looked like before and what she looks like now, it's like a completely different person. I mean, they don't even look like they're related. Anyway, Dana, you spend a lot of time, I think, I've seen, you can obviously tell, yeah. When you decided to scream, widow, and you're quoting every obscure, what were you thinking? It's like my father was like, what were you thinking? Seriously, what were you thinking? How does this make any sense? How did you, those people who spend good money, you just rattled off some GPTs. So leadership, women's leadership is about leave her alone? Is that what it's about? Your whole thing is about leave Erika alone? What about people who want a direction with their life and all you care about is leave her alone? Does that make any sense to you? And the same thing with Erika has this message. What was that? What is she about? Feminism and go out there? Can these people just talk? Is it possible for them to go out there and say, listen, we need you. Be proud of who you are. I'm sorry. Do not tell somebody, maybe you didn't mind this. I think it's stupid. Have children you can't afford. That is beyond stupid. That is irresponsible. They're millionaires. They have nothing to worry about. They can get all the nannies they want. People can't do that. But wouldn't you want somebody to go out there and say, I want you to know this is what you should be proud that you're a woman. Understand that sometimes it's tough. Maintain your core beliefs. Don't ever lose them. But listen, there's a time when it's going to be tough, and we're here to help you. That's what you need to know. When priests go out, I told you, my dear friend, this 103-year-old Catholic priest, Father Jim Lloyd, he would do these homilies, and it wasn't about how great Jesus is. He goes, they didn't know that. You want to know about what do you do? How do you live life? What is it that you're trying to do? And especially women, because it's so difficult, especially younger women, for you to be in this world of internet and social media about self-esteem. You need women, by the way, and these people are so phony and plastic. Do you want any of these people talking to your daughters? Seriously. Why do we always get these beauty queen wannabes, these MILFs and these not leopards, what are they called? Cougars. I knew there was some kind of feline reference. Michael says, thank you for your Zach Costello interview the other day. I enjoy Zach's content, and you really amplified Zach's human side. I never saw him crack a smile until your interview. He's a great guy. I really like him a lot. Because I didn't know. I didn't know. But I dug him, and I kind of knew. I've liked everybody so far. Colin, Baron, Katia, Fredo, who's great. She did her first live the other day. Good for you, girl. Good for you. And it's always, lives are weird. But I love these new people. Nisi, I think, is terrific. These are just great. This is just great talent. And there's others as well. I can't watch everybody. But anyway, but aside from that, don't you think, ladies, when you were younger, wouldn't you have liked somebody to tell you, maybe somebody who's there who can relate to. These women just want you to say, these are the cool girls. These are the cheerleaders. Is there any black women anywhere? I know this sounds stupid. I know this sounds, but sometimes, see, and we talk about Candace, I don't think of Candace being a woman or black, or I think of her as Candace. I think that's the greatest compliment in the world. She's like a bud. She's somebody you'd want to. I bet you she's got a wicked sense of humor. I bet you she loves dirty jokes. I bet you she's just like a regular. I don't say this. I bet she's like one of the guys. I bet you she's just an unpretentious, just a really funny person who just sees the inordinate stupidity of things. But it's so important. Do you realize? Think about this. We live in this sexist, racist world, and there are people who love the fact. Do you ever find yourself saying, "Oh yeah, she's black"? Yeah, it doesn't come up. Which is exactly. It's not DEI. It's like it doesn't matter if there's a racial issue. Okay, I guess, but she's a Christian. She's a Catholic. Oh, I'd love to talk to her about Catholic stuff. See, because that was my background. And growing up in Catholic school was just I just thought it was great. Taught me a lot of, taught me about imagination. But see, that's the thing. And it's funny and it's interesting. And I also love the fact that there are people who, we always let things get in the way. Well, I'm older. This age stuff, what does that have to do? Zach and I agreed with, almost everything. And if I don't agree with it, I don't disagree with it. Does that make any sense? I like to ask him a question flat out. I said, listen, you're me pro-choice. You want to put women in prison? He went, yeah. I said, you know what? You have to say that. Now, do I want to put people in prison? No. But that wasn't the deal breaker. That was like, okay, that's okay. Christians should be able to talk to Jews, even though they're or Muslims, who basically says, listen, not for nothing, but Jesus ain't, the Son of God. Okay. Is that critical? No, I kind of knew that. We're all different. We always have some kind of. Does that even come up? No, it's not. It's not a deal breaker. It doesn't. It's like speaking a different language. So what I thought was interesting was that here we all are, and I've got these people. And by the way, like I said, there are people, and this I learned something like this. Anna Kasparian, I've got newfound respect for her. I thought she was not crazy. We use that word crazy too much. Oh, you're crazy. But some of the leftist stuff is like, nah. And I am as, I guess, if you give me the right thing, I'm as left as there. I'm trying to think of something where, but it's got to make sense. There's got to be some connection to it. I understand there have been some people. Oh, look at this. It's Caladium lady says, thank you for praying the Our Father in Latin. Oh, wow. Pater Noster quis in caeli, sanctificator nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tua, fiat voluntas sicut in terra, panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimini nobis. And I kind of got lost. It just, I remember the ego vexilla unitorum statum Americae ac rei publicae, quam designat fidelitatem spandio uni natione, sub Deo indivisibilia cum libertate atque justitia omnibus. It's a pledge of allegiance. I break into that one. Catalinic orations, quosque tandem abutere Catalina patientia nostra. One of the things I got to translate when I was a Jesuit was vagina dentata. You know what that is? Vagina dentata. Teeth in the vaginal os, into the introitus. Teeth. And the Roman soldiers would put a stick or something to make sure to see if it ate the stick. And I said, "You want me to translate it?" He goes, "Be my guest." We were translating arrows. It was really neat. We would speak Latin to each other. certain things, dative, and that's where we got to get back to. Anyway, I don't want to get into that, but thank you for that. So the good news with all this stuff is happening is that it's. And I talked to friends of mine, and they're watching Fox News. I said, "Hey, Trump signed a deal with us." I said, "Do you not know what's going on? Do you really not know what's going on? Do you really not know what's going on?" And here's my thing. If I was your president, I'd say Iran, bad. What am I supposed to do? Bomb them? Barkus, the Marge, says, "I met Candace and her husband in 2024. They were down to earth, delightful, and willing to talk. Her viewers are so important to her, and she has no airs and graces. She has no airs and graces and doesn't like acting like a celebrity." Oh, I knew. That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. And by the by, it takes a lot for the man to say, "My wife is the star. I'm not a star." Now, I think that's groovy. When my wife does, by the way, follow her on Lynn's Warriors. When she does her thing, I'm just driving. I'm setting up the stuff. I'm bringing out the bracelets and the. One time we went to we do a housing project in Far Rockaway, and she is with these incredible women, black, living project, and she gets along with it, and I'm like the dutiful, groovy, no problem, and it's her show. I can't imagine why wouldn't you? But you should do that regarding kids and other people. To say you got to ask yourself: do you really know who you are? Let me ask you a question. Stupid question. Do you like yourself? Let me answer my question. Do you like yourself? Answer yourself. Answer me. Do you like yourself? Not what you do, but do you like yourself? Do you like you? Do you like yourself? Do you? Somebody says yes. Proud of it, yeah. I have my moments. Well, I like that. That's good. That's it. I said, love myself better than you. That's good. Yeah. See, that's good. That's wonderful. You should say, I'm a bitch. Well, see, that's self-deprecating. That's self-deprecating. What I'm saying is, you got to say, I'm okay. But you got to also ask yourself, you got to realize, I'm insignificant. This hubris, I'm a speck. I'm nobody. But I like myself. I think I'm a good egg. And the thing is if you like yourself, it comes across to people. It comes across. I am so unimpressed with me. I am so unimpressed with me. I don't talk about. I hate people say, "What do you do?" I say, "I'm a shepherd." I always give that. I've been saying that forever. Really? I said, "Well, I did alpacas at first, but then I do mostly sheep." Here in New York, yeah. But other people, they love to talk about themselves. They love it. I can't. I can't. I'm okay. The thing is, I'm okay with myself. I think I'm all right. I think you'll like me. If we hung around, if we could sit, I always tell people, if we could sit like getting your oil changed, you got a Jiffy Lube and you're sitting in somewhere and you're just shooting the shit and nobody's there, you'll have a good time. Guaranteed. Because it's not even anything, nobody taught me this. It's like, it's no big deal. That's why I have such a hard time with people here in New York. I don't do a lot of, we have a chance to go to a lot of things. I just don't want to deal with people. I'm not impressed with people. I'm just not impressed. I am not impressed I find most people stupid. I'm serious. I really, really. One of my great friends is a fellow named Jerry Wexler. He's passed away, but you know Jerry Wexler from Atlantic Records. He's famous. He's famous. He's famous. He did Bob Dylan and Aretha Franklin. I mean, the Stones. Name it. One day I was doing a show with my friend Nat Adderley. This is Cannonball Adderley's brother. He lived in Tampa. Nat was great. Nat was he was like the greatest jazz man. He answered his phone like this. Beep. We had an answering machine. Beep. All right. Okay. All right. Beep. I said, what the hell kind of that was it. That's the way he was. Okay, man. I mean, he just had that thing. So one day he said, what are you looking at? I said, well, this is the computer shows the calls coming in. He goes, oh, those are the names of the dude. Yeah. He goes, wait a minute. Jerry Wexler. Do you know Jerry Wexler? I said, who the hell's Jerry Wexler? I swear. He lived in Sarasota at Siesta Key. We were in Tampa at the time. I said, no. He says, you don't know who Jerry? Take that call. I said, okay. So I said, Jerry Wexler. Yeah, okay. And they were talking. He goes, yeah, Nat, Jerry. Yeah. So anyway, so he said, by the way, Jerry Wexler gave a number to call him. So I called back and said, so I didn't have internet. I didn't know who he was. Never heard of him. I'm an heard of from Atlanta, but I just wasn't R&B. I'm sorry. I'm not going to lie to you. So I said, so Jerry, what do you do? He says, you don't know who I am, do you? I said, well, no. He said, oh my God. He says, everybody's kissing my ass. And he goes, well, and he starts sending me everything he did. I said, I got it. He goes, no. VCRs, he did this, he did that, all the interviews. So whenever I talk to him, I said, let me ask you a question. Listen, I said, if I were to, if you could get somebody on the phone, if I said, call so-and-so, who would it be? He said, name it. He said, you ever heard of Mick Jagger? I said, Jerry, please. He goes, well, if you haven't heard of me, how do I know? I said, oh, Jagger, no problem. The big joke was, you remember call waiting. You hear that click. He said, just a minute. I was talking to him. He said, oh, I got to go. Etta James was on the other line. I said, another time, he goes, I got to go. Why? It's Steve Winwood. You remember Steve Winwood, don't you? I said, yes, I understand. So it was a big deal. So the point is, we became the best of friends because I wasn't impressed with him. I just liked him. And the greatest. And there's something about liking people. And maybe that was a long way to say this, but I think I really just like Candace. And I don't think she'd be one of these people that she got to talk about current affairs. I think she would just talk about being a mom, or I can't wait to talk about the Catholic Church because it was fun. Just different things, fun things, just things that people talk about. That's all. And I don't think I'm wrong. There are other people. Would you want to talk to Dana Lesh? No. Would you want to talk to Erika? Oh, I would, but for different. I like to do like a debriefing. I like to do a kind of like a psychological profile to talk to her, because she'd really be interesting. That is a wounded soul. That is a very wounded soul. Let me ask you something. Tucker, like I told you, I got to text him to Tucker. I think he's got the same number. An old Buck, I call him Buck, Uncle Buck, Buckley. I like him. We're chatting. You know what's funny too is in a weird way is I get a kick out of it. He goes, that's Buckley Girls. I was that way with Zach. It's like I'm talking to Zach Garcella. Because I'm the same way. I watch them. I'm like a fan. And then you know what I mean? It's fun. But Tucker he's very, he and I talked one time on MSNBC years ago. He doesn't remember it. It wasn't that noteworthy, but I would do a lot of I was on MSNBC all the time, CNN all the time. And every time we did is we went to Channel 1, you would go to these sound stages where you would be hooked up. Now you just do it from home. But in the old days, they picked up on a car, CNN on 8th Avenue, and whatever we did this. But I'd like to talk to the thing about Tucker. And let me ask you something. What would be the questions you would ask? You know what I would ask? Nothing about what he does. Nothing about. I'd like to know, it's like, what's your worst personal habit? What's the nicest thing anybody ever did for you? What's your biggest disappointment? Not in terms of whatever, but like when you were a kid and you thought, because I still, Santa Claus just was like the biggest betrayal. That set me off. But don't you know, wouldn't you love to ask questions like that? Wouldn't you want to know, like, just questions, you know? And again, I don't want to talk about the job because that's just boring. I mean, not boring. I shouldn't say that. But it's like, and the best part is, like, I like old Buck, Uncle Buck. I want to say, who's the I don't know who's older, I guess, but what is the whole, the sibling thing? He had a very interesting thing. His father basically raised them after their mother abandoned them, and it's a great story. I like these things in people's lives that really, I like to have Candace tell me about her grandfather. Because she said something about that. I reminded her of her grandfather. It's the greatest compliment in the world. And I keep telling you, listen to the judge about grandpa, tell me about the good old days. I really like people who just say things. And I like honesty, but I like tactful. I just like interesting. You know what I mean? There's just this. And there's also something. She has this best. How do I say this? This best attitude of, think about this. I want to tell you something. Every now and then it'll hit me. I'll be doing something and all of a sudden I have a brain fart. I'll think of something. And I think to myself, how many things happened to me that I thought were a failure, a letdown, a job that didn't work out, or relationships a long time ago, where I thought, oh my God, if that didn't work out, I'd still be doing. Oh my God. Like little things that little things that came along in your life that said, why don't you do this? Like when all of a sudden, out of the blue, in 1988, 80, yeah. When I met the fellow who was the head of ABC Radio, said, do you want to come to New York and work for WABC? From Tampa. It was just like, sure. And that was I don't mean that like meteoric. I'm saying a different direction. Like, how did I do that? How did that happen? Remember the expression, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. If you want to make God laugh, tell him or her your plans. And God would say, really? Is that right? Is that what you're doing? Oh, okay. That's like these people who give this advice to these high schoolers. It's like you're boring this. It's like, no, life is this. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a shock. It's a shock. Would you, if you have, let's say your spouse or lover or whatever, I hate that word lover, but on paper, would you have ever picked this person as but no. How does that happen? It's like, I don't know. It's just things happen. Is it fate? I don't really believe so. I think it's randomness. It's entropy. It's one of the things which is the most wonderful thing, this randomness. I mean, think about this. Look at all of us right now. You and I are together as we speak. This is the most important thing in the world. I got to tell you something. This is really, really something. So at any event, my friend, I thank you immensely. That's it. Tonight, from 2 to 5 a.m., I'm going to be on WABC. And this WABC radio, you can just listen 2 to 5. Oh, it's so, I can't talk about what we talk about, but I got it. I don't want to scare anybody. But that's from 2 to 5 a.m., which is fun. Saturday and Sunday, which is a loads of fun. It's like it's just keeping my radio chops up. It's so much better than, oh my God, Monday through Friday. Oh God, I will never do that again. Oh. Anyway, I just had a flashback. So please listen. In any event, I thank you. I loves you. You all are absolutely, no Rumble channel. Don't really do the Rumble. Too much work. I like to do this. I want people to stick here. This is my bread and butter. This and X. That's it. Because if you do that, then I want here. This is still the best. No matter what you say, YouTube is still the best. It's the most interesting, the most profitable. It is the best. It is the network for today's thinkers or whatever it is. So anyway, there you go. All right, my friends. Thank you so very much. Have a great and glorious day. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't ever forget, I mean this sincerely. Please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. Ooh, yeah, that was a good one. Ooh, we could drag that up. Lynn's Warriors. Zach got a hold of that too. Huh? Nobody's ever done that before. I don't know if I want to break away hand farts with Candace, but I might. In any event, Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. Also, like these videos. Please like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And hit the I'm telling you, the subscription, it's like so critical. Anyway, we love you. Have a great and a glorious day. I love you. Love you. I love you, baby. Okay, baby. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Don't forget, Monkey's Dead. Show's over. Sue ya. Da.